Now, energy expert Professor Sampson Mamphweli from the South African National Energy Development Institute joins us now for reaction. Prof, thank you so much for your time. So some of our takeouts from this briefing was that we heard about 9 units went out. This was due to boiler tube leaks, and these units that contributed significantly to our power grid. Perhaps give us a simplified meaning or context in layman's terms, as is there really light at the end of the tunnel, like the minister says?
Good afternoon or morning to you and the viewers. So in terms of the light at the end of the tunnel, what I have done was basically to look at the President's Energy Action Plan, because that is what the President relied on in terms of the implementation, and then he gave an update on the implementation of that particular plan. Apart from the fact that the coal fleet seems to be giving a lot of problems, there are other positives that are coming out of the President's Energy Action Plan. We have seen, for instance, new generation capacity coming from the private sector. We've seen the private sector registering about 10,000 megawatts of new generation capacity with NERSA. So if you look at the horizon in terms of what will be the state of the grid when that 10,000 megawatts comes on board, one can easily say that within a year or two, then things might change for the better. We've seen, because of the reforms that were brought in by government, the inclusion of the rebate program, for instance, that has led to 4 gigawatts of rooftop solar PV installed by private individuals and households. That if that trend continues, then if you look at the horizon, you can then be able to agree with the President that there are a lot of positives going forward, and one can then agree that load shedding will be able to be dealt with. On the flip side, when you look at the coal fleet, the performance of the coal fleet, we're still sitting with a lot of uncertainty. And that uncertainty is coming because of the historic nature of the way the coal fleet was dealt with. I heard Katlego asking the minister whether these are some of the issues that came because the coal fleet was not necessarily properly maintained in the past, and the answer is yes. The coal fleet was not properly maintained in the past, and it was run hard, for a lack of a better word. And what we're seeing now is the failure that happens unpredictably so, which is why even Eskom, at some point, they wake up not knowing what will fail where. And I saw the issue around the statements that they issue. Sometimes they within an hour something drastic happens, and they are forced to issue a statement immediately in the middle of the night, and all those kind of things. And some of these statements will say we are replenishing the generation reserves. But in the background, there is some failure that has happened that has led them to replenishing these generation reserves. So what government needs to do, in my view, and we've been advising as well, is that they need to make liquid cash available to the Minister of Electricity and to Eskom for them to do what they've done with the Quebec power station, for instance, where they took down the unit, fixed everything over and above the work that they were reporting to the nation. They were looking at the total renewal of that particular unit. So when that unit comes back to life, it is reliable. It can give us longevity. It can give us reliability for quite a long time. So what is happening now is that government gave Eskom money, about 256 billion rand, to basically service their debt, and with the hope that they can use their balance sheet to fix the coal fleet. I don't think that is working to an extent that government would have anticipated. We see glimpses of improvements here and there. When they started, with the maintenance program, we were sitting at about 18,000 megawatts. In terms of unplanned capacity loss factor, which is basically your breakdowns. Today, we're sitting at about 15,000 megawatts. So it has worked to that particular extent of saying plus or minus 3,000 megawatts where they were able to fix. But the problem is still the inherent problem of the unpredictability of these units, which basically means that instead of fixing the units that are breaking down, we need to then take down all the units one by one or in a particular kind of sequence and then maintain them, even if it means putting the country on stage 3 load shedding for a year. We need to do that because we know that after a year, we will have reliability and reliable supply of electricity. That is what I think needs to happen. But I appreciate the fact that there's quite a lot of other initiatives that government has brought on board that are assisting in terms of dealing with load shedding, apart from the fact that the coal fleet is still problematic.
And Prof, just also before I let you go, speaking on the issue of the alleged sabotage of units, and now the minister says there are competent, willing and patriotic people who are at Eskom. However, there are also people that are undermining the fight against these rolling blackouts that we currently see right now. So what do you make of this statement in the context of the investigation into the alleged sabotage of units?
Yeah, so that is something that was identified long time ago, before the establishment of the National Energy Crisis Committee. And in the National Energy Crisis Committee, one of the work streams is basically dealing with that particular aspect. There's a work stream that's dealing with the security around the power stations, the sabotage, the corruption, and the malfeasance, and all those kind of things. And that includes a number of state organs, relevant state organs. So I think what needs to happen in that particular space is that we need to have someone like the Minister of Police coming on board, updating the nation on what is happening, because there have been arrests that we know. Every now and then you hear that somebody has been arrested based on something, but there's quite a lot of investigations that are taking place behind the scenes, which the Minister of Police can give quite a lot of information. I understand and I appreciate the fact that when you are busy with investigations, there are certain things that you cannot say because that may jeopardize investigations. I saw the tweet by the Secretary General of the ANC, and I think he also tweeted based on the fact that. He knows and understands that there are those kind of things happening, and it's nothing new, really. It's things that were identified long before the establishment of the Energy Crisis Committee.
All right, Prof Sampson Mamphweli from the South African National Energy Development Institute, thank you so much for your insights.